Okay, hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me and all that good stuff? And this computer drives me crazy. Whoever's in watching or viewing, it would really be nice of you to get into the chat. Come forward, be recognized, say hello, um, whatever you'd like to say. Now, tonight's lesson is a continuation of Monday. Monday we took the stick control book and did a linear concept using the grid. Michael Lewis, how are you? This sheet. Okay, so let me go back a little bit on what we did Monday. We took the stick control book, page 5. We interpreted it as, instead of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and. We did it, we consolidated the two measures and made it 1 16th notes. 1 E and a 2, 3 E and a 4 E and a. Okay, and we took this and we're going to use, again, tonight, 3 voices. The snare drum, the bass drum, and the hi-hat. So, we're going to play the line as in 16th notes, but the first part of the grid would be the downbeat, 1. Hi, Ed. And what we're doing with this is we're going to just take the first part of the grid, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4. But if you look at the interpretation, on the counts of 1, 2, 3, 4, it's all rights. So we're going to make whatever that is. If it's a right, the bass drum. If it's a left, it's going to be the snare drum. I mean the hi-hat, excuse me. So let's do line 1 again slow. 3, 4. Now I'm just taking that nice and slow and playing just on the snare drum. Now that's playing the downbeat with the bass drum. That's the first part of the grid. The second part of the grid will fall on the E. So what I'm going to do here now, and the E is the left, so that's going to become the hi-hat. Hey Steve, how you doing? Did you get my PDFs before, Steve? All right, so now we're going to be line 1, and we're moving over the second part of the grid, which is going to be all the E's. And all the E's are the lefts. So we have 1, E, and the, 2, and the, 3, E, and the, 4, E, and the, so on and so forth. Then we move it over one more to the and on all the ands. So all the ands now are on the R's. They're R's, so it's going to become the bass drum. So we have 1, E, and the, 2, E, and the, 3, E, and the, 4, E, and the. And then now the next move is to put the fourth part of the grid, which is the da. And the da now falls with the left, so that's going to be the hi-hat. So we have 1, E, and da. E, and da. Now that was Monday's lesson. I just wanted to revisit that to show you where we're going to continue. Are there any questions on Monday's lesson so far? I need some interaction here. If there is questions, just say yes. If there's no questions, put an N for no. I'm not going to go any further until I have a response from everybody. Because next week, we're going to take the Monday and Wednesday's lesson of today, of this week, and we're going to play a little faster. We're going to maneuver around the drum set with the linear concepts. So is there any questions, yes or no? We all understand Monday's lesson? I need a response. You don't understand. No questions? How about you, Ed? You said N for no. You don't understand? Is that it, or do you understand? There's no questions. Okay. I'm sorry, my fault. So let's go to the next platform. And we're going to use the hi-hat doing 30-second notes as well. And I always refer to that as the forgotten foot. You know, we're always working with the bass drum as opposed to the hi-hat. And the hi-hat's a beautiful sounding part of your instrument. But I call it the forgotten foot, you know, because everybody's playing these things together, like 1, 2, 3, and occasionally. Okay, so now we're going to use this. And now we're taking it to actually the extreme. And this works on some things really well, and it sounds really nice. And some things are a little unusual, which is okay because you want to go to the unusual and make that stronger. So now, instead of now interpreting the stick control book as 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, we're going to interpret that, hold on a second, as 16th notes. So instead of playing that 1 E and a, we're taking each stroke of the 1 E and a and playing it as double strokes. 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the. Just a different interpretation. Now, the bass drum again falls on this part of the grid on the 1. So we're going to play 1, and then we continue with the hands. 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, E, and 4, E, and that's the first part of the grid. Now, we move over again to the E, and on the E's, it's all the lefts. So here comes the forgotten foot you're going to have to work a little harder on. So you're going to have 1 E. I hope you could hear the hi-hat okay. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1. Can we hear the hi-hat, gentlemen? Yes, no, maybe. Can we hear the hi-hat? So now we're taking the grid and making the 30-second notes. The line has 30-second notes and still maintaining the grid. The left foot's going to be somewhat difficult because we're not accustomed to going like so. But like I said, it's just you. 1, 2. Whatever. Okay. So now let's take the second part. Okay, and that's going to be on the E's now, and that's going to be the hi-hat. So we're still maintaining doubles here. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 5. Okay, so that takes care of the 1, the E, and now we're going to go to the and. So now we have 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the. Before I go to a few other lines, did you, Ed, did you change the sticking patterns on the ones I asked? You can do them as written, but some work a little bit better as singles as opposed to doubles. I'm trying to maintain the sticking pattern. All right, so that's on the 1. Now we're going to go to the E. All right, on line 3. 1 E and the 2 is an unusual way to interpret the stick control book. I figured I'm going to maintain or work with the intelligence and the brilliance of George Lawrence Stone. Okay, now we're going to go to the duh, which is going to be 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, E, and 4, E, and now it's not easy to get up tempo with these because of the left foot. You know, we're using the bass drum all the time. You've got some sort of rebound, but you really need to play these. The hi-hat. Okay, so let's skip line 1. I believe line 2 rather. Let's go to a very unusual one, line 3. This one I'm going to use my sheet on because it's not. Hold on. Line 3, you have doubles here. 2 rights, 2 lefts. So you have 1 E, you have 1 E and 2 E, 3 E and 4 E and Now this is actually my fault. I should have provided one more line as from 16ths to 30 seconds. So as 30 seconds, all I'm doing per we're going to go to line 1 rather, excuse me. We're going to go to the first one. This is the second one. This is on the PDS page 3, number 1. Now as you see, you have 2 rights in a row. So you have the bass drum 1, E, and now you're going to have to be careful here. When you get to the duh, it's going to be duh. So we could fall with the left. So you have 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, E, and 4. I like to use, when I have just a single right, just a double. So the line would be 1, E. Now I have a double, 2 left. So instead of going, I'm not going to go and I have to change that 2 different ways here. I can make the first left 1 E. I can make it a double and, but I don't want to do that because it's going to throw me off. So I have 1 E. Now I use singles and 2 single right and E and 1, 3 E and 4. Do we understand how I'm interpreting that? I'll slow it down again. The first line, it's 1 E, because now that's just a single right now. Now we have 2 lefts in a row, so I'm starting with the left and using singles. E, it's 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and then you have 4 E and 4 E and now you understand why I didn't make the E alternate strokes. All right, because of the way it falls, the positioning. And this goes back to one of the lessons I've given a while ago about the turnarounds. And this is coming into view here, many different ways to use the turnarounds. Now, let's go to the line number 2, where we're going to shift to the E, and it's still a right. So if I do 1 E, now I did the paradiddle here instead of singles. 2, that's the first left. That's a and, then you have duh. Okay, so you have 1 E and duh. 2 E and duh. You see how it works? Why I'm using single strokes? It's a little confusing. So you need to say, let me just do line number 2 over and over again slow. 1 E and duh. sorry, 2, E, and the, 3, E, and the, 4, E, and the. Do we understand why I'm alternating the strokes there instead of using doubles? Do we understand that, gentlemen? Now, no metronome again tonight, but Monday, 1 p.m., there's going to be a metronome, and we're going to up the tempo. Now, the only way that these are going to work for you is repetition. Just sit there and do something like line 2. 1, I'm sorry, 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, E, and 4, E, and over and over and over again, 9 million times. Nice and slow. Get used to the feel. Let's go to line number 3. I got to put my glasses on. Now we're shifting over to the and. To the and. So we have single strokes again because there's 2 rights in a row as our interpretation. So it wouldn't make sense to go 1, E. So we're using single strokes. 1, E, and the becomes double. So let me do 1 again. 1, E, and the. 2, E, and the. 3, E, and the. 4, E, and the. That should actually be a double, okay? Do you understand why? So we don't have to do 4 rights in a row or 4 lefts in a row. We're using both doubles and singles. And there's only one more rudiment that you should have to know is the flam. And all other rudiments are combinations of those 3. You know, there's the 2 schools, the controversy. You know, there's 40 basic rudiments. Instead of the 5-stroke roll, now it's the rough rather, it's the single 5. I have no idea why, but hey, that's what you want to call it. To me, it's a 5-stroke roll forever and ever, or 5-stroke rough. There's only 3 rudiments: singles, doubles, and flams. And everything else that you play is a combination of that. Does everybody here agree or disagree? Or because I don't want to get into field drumming. It's a language in itself. That's why you have 40 rudiments. 5-stroke roll. 5-stroke rough. Single 5 now. Now the paradiddle, here you go. It's a hybrid. It's a combination of singles and doubles. Singles and doubles. Okay, so we're going to separate the field drumming from the drum set drumming. And there's a lot of great field drummers. I mean, they have some chops, some beautiful hands. But when they come and they play a pattern or they play a song, it sounds like a march. You know, and their attitude, most of them, not all of them, but most of them have this competitive attitude, which is totally, in my opinion, ridiculous. Okay, let's go to the doubles again. And we're going to go to, let me put my glasses on. Mercy, Lord, be in my eyes. This old age shit. We're going to go to number 1, C. And we're going to shift the action, the pedal, that's the duh of the grid. So it's going to fall on this. So I'm going to do that line slow. And look, do you have the first paradiddle? In reality, if you want to label it, it's a paradiddle diddle. So you have 1, E, and the. 2, E, and the. 3, E, and the. 4, E, and the. What about unisons? I don't understand what you mean by unisons. If you're playing two voices at one time, is that what you're calling? Elaborate on that. I'm curious about that one, Fred. What about unisons? I don't know what you mean by unisons. When I call this in I call it layered or in harmonic. I don't know what unisons means. Explain that to me, please. I'd appreciate it. If I'm playing eighth notes, that's to me layered, because now you have linear, for example, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. If I play harmonically or layered in relationship, I still don't understand. Unisons. We're talking about hybrid stuff now. You know, the field drumming or for the language itself, you know, you have 40 rudiments, basic rudiments. When I was first starting, there was only 26 basic rudiments from the NARD. Now there's 40 rudiments. Where they came from, I have no idea. And they call them hybrid rudiments. You make up your own, the refrigerator cheese or whatever it might be in relationship to rudiments. If I'm playing a paradiddle, now when you say unison, I'm playing a flam paradiddle. That's how I interpret what you're saying. Flam family? Is that what you're talking about? Flam, flat flam. A flat flam? No, I don't like that term, flat flam. It's two notes at one time hitting. That's flat. That's unison is what you mean. All right? It's an alternating flam. Okay? If I'm playing two hands at flat, you want to call it flat flam. I call it layered or harmonic. I'm playing two sticks at one time, like so. Flam. I can play a flam here. First of all, let me get the language straightened out here. You know, we talk about harmonic, linear, layered, in unison for what you said, and I'm not disagreeing with you. And I mean, that's just another term, which, you know, you can call it a flat flam, you know, whatever you want to call it. To me, it's in unison, or it's in harmony, rather. But you take the stick control book. Every one of those lines, from 1 to 72, if you don't use your foot, or your feet, rather, and you're playing one surface or two surfaces or three or whatever, you're following the sticking, it's all linear. Every single one of them. After you complete line 5, after that, every line is a hybrid rudiment. Think about it. It's a combination of either a single or a double. There's no flams there. That's right, that's the flam section. But every one is a hybrid. Now, you know, I've come across that term, flat flams in unison. I don't really, you know, what's a flat flam? I mean, you know, it's two, that's flat, but that's in unison or, like I said, in harmony. Flam, flat. These things come down. That's a different sound, and that's okay. No problem. Okay, back to the lesson. You understand. I mean, the questions are really good, gentlemen. I really like that. It gives me an opportunity to have discussions with everybody who's listening and viewing. Now, you can call it flat. You can call it in unison. I call it layered or in harmony. Now, we've gone through the stick control book, harmony, cross harmonic, you know, all that good stuff, four-way coordination or linear. And we're extending or expanding a linear concept right now, which it's something that I've come up with, and it's a good exercise. You know, first off, you know, the stick control book has nothing actually directly to do with any particular style of music or any particular tune. It has to do with you and your hands and your coordination. What you play to a tune and what you play, Mike, and what you play, Steve and Ed, and then what I play, the same song is my interpretation as it is your interpretation. All the things that you learn technically and you apply them musically. Nobody can teach you how to play a groove. That's number one. Number two, the music is the music. You're having a conversation. If you're playing artistically, you're having a conversation with the other musicians. If you're playing, which I dislike, cover tunes, and it's a money gig, because everybody wants to hear Neil Peart, Tom Sawyer, or Dave Brubeck's Blue Armando La Turk, well, fine, there's certain parameters you maintain. That's the tune. But if you're going to play something like from Miles Davis, all blues, that's an interpretation. Yeah, there's parameters you have to maintain. And that's the same thing with the stick control book. I take the stick control book as a very brilliant book written by a very good, great, brilliant drummer. And it's been on the market for 1,000 years and it's still the best-selling book in the world, in the drum world anyway. Okay? Now, we're going to take, come Monday, we're going to use the metronome and start developing the singles, the 16th note lessons and the 32nd note lessons, and we're going to start moving them around on different voices, but still maintaining the linear concept. It's a very difficult thing to write out all the time. It's very time consuming. I'd rather sit behind my drum set and practice as opposed to writing, but that's okay. It's for the benefit of other drummers to help them out. And maybe someday, well, you teach me anyway. When I hear you guys play, if you guys have any videos, you teach me, and it's your concept. And the way you speak and the questions you ask tell me sort of where you're at. And Ed, that's great, man. A flat flam, unison. I heard of flat flam, but I never heard of unison. That's okay. So, is there any line in particular from the PDFs you would like me to go over? Or is there any more additional questions? 6 people are watching this video of this lesson, and there's only 3 of you in the chat. My goodness. Gentlemen, get in the chat. Say hello. It's okay if we're enemies. Or if I said don't bother. Just get in the chat. That's what this is about. This is a learning thing. It's not a competitive performance kind of thing and showing everybody how good I can play or how fast I can play. It's about discussing the art of drumming and developing different approaches. You might have a different approach. Share it with everybody who's listening or watching, and we'll go over it. I like the question, Fred. Ed, rather. Steve, everything okay with you? Mike, everything okay? Because it's time for me to lock it up. Any questions? Boy, this water is very refreshing. No, nobody's trying to argue. Who's that? I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that name. Gingarelli? Nobody's here arguing. We're discussing what we taught about. We're not arguing. By no means. This is a very peaceful, educational platform. That's all. No arguments. We're here to learn. That's all. And discuss different concepts and different techniques. different approaches. No one's arguing. And besides, if you argue, I'll win. Just joking, just joking. Well, there's nothing going on and nobody's arguing. I'm just discussing uh, the rudiments. There's three. In my opinion, there's three. There's 40 rudiments, the Vic Firth chart. I'm just explaining that I think that the Stick Control book is the greatest book ever written. Not being condescending to any other authors. All right, and I just really want to share the brilliance of George Lawrence Stone with whomever I can. And I'm always, and perhaps all the people that are in here, I am probably the most humblest person because I'm always willing to learn and listen to everybody. And, you know, for example, Ed just mentioned the word unisons or flat flams. I'm not arguing with him, I'm discussing that with him. So there's nobody arguing whatsoever. I won't allow that. This, like I said, is an instructional platform, not a performance platform. And welcome here. If you would like the PDFs for tonight's lesson, all right, you could email me and I'll put you on my mailing list. Oh, what happened there? I'll put you on my mailing list and you will get the week's agenda. What's this? Well, okay. I was in a lot of drum corps, and some of the drum corps guys have extremely great hands. Some of the things they do, man, are ridiculous. So they play so well. But, you know, from what I've seen, and I'm not saying all drum corps guys, but when they sit and play a tune with a band, they play well. Okay, but you could always hear where they actually came from. All right, and it's like the drum corps. And like I did mention, I'm not arguing, it's my opinion. Most drum corps guys that I speak to or talk drumming to, it's just a different kind of world. Field drumming and this kind of drumming are like night and day. And yeah, you could interact or bring over, you know, what you've learned into the drum set world. Now, as far as George Lawrence Stone, in my opinion, it's the greatest book ever. Now, Ted Reed, I do a lot of work out of. Ted Reed, his book is great as well. But what I say, the Stick Control book, all right, everything comes from there. If you really want to understand the Ted Reed book, it is actually the Stick Control book, and I can prove that. All right, and yeah, most musical drummers aren't musical whatsoever. They're like robots and they're mechanically trained. But like I said, they have some great chops, and some of the things they do on a snare drum, I mean, I don't even want to go there. But let me give you my email. Email me after this if you want to get on my emailing list and you would like tonight's PDFs and Monday night's PDFs. So here we go. Now, I just emailed Steve Lapinto. He's from the East Coast, and he got the PDFs for tonight, and he's on my mailing list. And I do these lessons for the rest of the summer anyway, on Monday and Wednesdays, 1 p.m. every day on Monday and Wednesday, and 8:30 p.m. Monday and Wednesday on this channel. So if you want to email me, I'm Gingarelli, is that your name? Okay. Just, I'll send you the PDFs if you're interested. And I will put you on my mailing list. Okay, so with all that being said, it's very hot in here because I can't put the air conditioner on. It distorts the sound. And again, I'm going to mention this. I've been having some, not just me, but a few other people have been having issues with YouTube. This is being recorded, and it will be up on my channel. Sometimes when you view the video, it's not in sync. If that happens, okay, if that happens, I will do a video and of the lesson, and I will upload it to YouTube. Let me just address this one more thing. Anyway, you know, it's not playing crazy things. You have to make a decision. I played 6, 7 nights a week all over the United States. And I played cover tunes. That's what the people want. What I call that is a money band. And that's not a problem. Okay? But I take drumming, you know, that's the way you know, if you're going to play in a cover tune band, or you're going to play somebody who's, for example, playing a Santana tune, or a Rush tune, or heavy metals, that's what people are going out to see. And you have to play as close to the song as possible. What I see is this. I take drumming as an art form. Yeah, I'll play Santana. I mean, the gig pays. It's the way you pay your mortgage or your rent or you buy food. But if you take it to the art, what is this? Let me read this. Well, Gigarelli, what you want to do is email me so I don't have to go through this. I won't be able to get your email. Email me. There it is, mattpatella1001@gmail.com. I'll add you to my list, and you will get you will get a PDF every Monday and Wednesday. So you're going to have to email me, okay? And yeah, it's best to get the sheet music. Do you know how to read, Mr. Gigarelli? Okay, I'm going to have to close it up, gentlemen. Okay, and thank you for stopping by, and you're welcome to come by any lesson that you'd like. Michael Lewis, Steve, Ed, and whoever else, have a great night, and we will be back Monday afternoon, 1 p.m. And if you're on my emailing list, boom, you get the PDF. Have a good night, gentlemen.